market. In the previous session, we heard about the 3 different countries, and then one step away, and we discussed at the more like regional level discussion. But in this session, actually, we're gonna go take like one step more closer to the one specific country, which is Vietnam, and like the speakers representing each like major part of the industry, we're gonna hear their like insightful opinion. So we have a guest speaker, Mr. Wing Tien from Bina Game, the BNG, which is called Bina Game, which is #1 like online game company in Vietnam, more than 60% market share, and also have a #1 news portal and also #1 player in MP3 music business. And recently, they successfully built up the mobile messenger app, which is #1 mobile messenger app in Vietnam. The name is Zalo. So actually hearing about the VNG's history is pretty much about the Vietnam startup history too. So I think this is gonna be a really interesting topic. We also have Mr. Wing Deng, currently working for M-Service, which is fintech company. And I think this is one of the hardest topics in Korea as well in these days. So I think this is also going to be a really interesting topic. Thirdly, the last guest speaker is Aaron Yer. He's a CEO of the Shop and Go, which is the biggest convenience store chain in Vietnam. So we're going to hear from Aaron more like a retail perspective, how we can approach this new startup area and technology. Okay, we're going to start from the Mr. Wing Tien first. I should go up. Try this.
Hello? Okay. Thank you, SK. Thank you, everyone. We feel that having Vietnam in one session is really an honor to us, comparing to the previous sessions with like 3 different countries. So today I'll share a little, with you the maybe a little bit about the history of VNG and maybe more from a point of view of a startup company, even though we are 10 years old, and also about a special topic about the online to offline market in Vietnam. So, so let me give you some basic information about Vietnamese market. It's good that Andy in the previous session already showed you quite a bit info about Vietnam, and probably you've seen Vietnam in the #3 or #4 in most of the topics already. So I'll just give you some basic info. First of all, the population of Vietnam is 91 and still growing, and 58% are still like under 40. The urbanization level is still very low, so compared to the South Asian countries, it's only 31%. However, the internet penetration in Vietnam right now is about 44%. It's not very high, and it's kind of stagnating in the recent years. But at the same time, mobile is growing very fast, and the number of the total mobile household having like the household having mobile is about 80%, even though the number of subscribers is more than 100%. The geographic distributions of Vietnam is a little bit different from other countries. We have some major cities with like very high density of people, and that's where internet is growing very fast. And mobile is something that also growing fast in Vietnam because it can reach to the rural areas as well. One interesting thing is in Vietnam, in 2013, like more than a year ago, the penetration of smartphone is only 20%, and it almost doubled in 2014. And we expect that the growth rates will be pretty much the same. So in Vietnam, we talk about the most important smartphone the biggest brand is iPhone. So many people feel there's something strange since the level of income is not very high, but in Vietnam, really, the number one phone is iPhone. The number two is really Samsung. Nokia used to be the number one about 2 years ago, and now it's dropped. So Windows Phone is like number 3 in the market. And Android is still very big. And I think that this is something that is quite unique about Vietnam, and we see that also in Vietnam, the infrastructure for mobile is pretty ready. The cost for 3G internet is very low, and at the same time, Wi-Fi is everywhere. The behavior of users is also different. In the markets where, like markets in Vietnam, we realize that people downloaded even like big applications using 3G, so they don't want to wait to go to the Wi-Fi, which is still like very widely available. They still like download everything from 3G. So I think the infrastructure is there. Mobile internet is probably the best opportunity, and it's not only about feature phone; it's all about smartphone at this moment. Last year, the mobile internet traffic already surpassed the desktop traffic, even though in Vietnam, the desktop traffic is pretty high. Right now, I would say that about 60% of the total internet traffic is mobile internet traffic. So in that context, then probably when we talk about VNG, and I came here and talked about VNG before, and many people asked us, so how do you compare VNG to the Korean companies that you have in the Korean companies? And we said that in Vietnam, we are probably the combination of NHN, Naver, and also KakaoTalk. That's the kind of position that we have. But instead of talking too much about the position, I'll share with you a little bit about the history and our history as a startup company. So our story is about a story of like inventing and reinventing our business. So we started out 10 years ago as a game company. It all started here in Korea. So my president, CEO came to Korea 2003 for a cyber game competition. And he realized that online game probably will be very important in Vietnam. 2004, he incorporated the company. He came to Korea, tried to license the game. He was not very successful, but the company started by then. And we became so successful with the very first game, and we built a franchise of the online games based on that. So it's about 10 years ago. But then 7 years ago, we realized that probably content alone is not the most important thing. We need to be a web company, an internet company. And we built our Zing portal, which 3 years later surpassed Yahoo to become the number one portal in Vietnam. And the property that we have, which is very important right now, is the MP3 as a music portal. So web media is becoming like the core of our business for a while. But then 2009, we decided that we'll go into social media. So we invested into a product competing with Facebook. Turned out to be not very successful. So Facebook is the number one in the market. We are the number 2 in the market right now. Very distant number 2. But it taught us that we have to shift our business, but not only from the traditional business into a new area. And then about 3 years ago, and we were about 2 years behind Line, Kakao, and WeChat, and we started our own mobile messaging application, which is Zalo. And Zalo became the number 1 after that. And now, at this moment, we are about as the number of monthly unique visitor, monthly MAU. Right now, it's about the same as Facebook on mobile. So it's not Facebook Messenger, it's Facebook on mobile because we use them as a competitor. And we are about double the size of Viber, 4 times the size of Line, and Kakao is not even like prominent in the market anymore. So for us, it's a story of the company is like we keep shifting everything, like the major part of the business from like a core part, something that we've done pretty successful, and all the time we have to catch up with the technology. The second thing is the building up our core strength. So when we license the games before, it's quite easy. We just go out, we can pick the right contents, We know how to operate it. We know how to do the marketing, understanding the customer, and I think that's the initial kind of strength that we had. But then gradually, we realized that being able to be strong and build up our own product is very important. And we were thinking about that at the point that in Vietnamese market, the number one of everything was like American products. So we had Google, Yahoo, Chat was like Yahoo Chat, and Facebook was at that time. So everything was difficult for us at that point. And then around that time, about 5-6 years ago, we started thinking about like going into user platform. And for us, a user platform was a vague idea. We knew that we had to invest into technology. But then Zing.Me, which is our Facebook-like product, was the very first product that we invested a lot into technology. It turned out to be not very successful, but it laid the ground for Zalo success later on. So it's not something that we immediately from the day one we got. It's all the time that we got to kind of reinvent ourselves and then kind of focus more on the future. And looking forward, for us, it's not, Zalo is a platform, and the next capability that we need to build up is the ecosystem development, because user platform alone is not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is becoming the dominant ecosystem driver in Vietnam. So the third thing about the history of VNG is also the competition with the foreign players. So at the beginning, so in Vietnam, we started out with games. Sounds very much something like a local product. It's not a lot of competition, but then we moved to like web. Web and news contents and music was something very local. But then Google came to the market. Advertising that immediately taken, market was immediately taken by Google. So a foreign company can come in and just like wipe out something very quickly. Facebook later on became like the number one social network, and they are currently the number one mobile advertising company in Vietnam. So all the time we're facing kind of competition with the foreign companies, and we realized that technology, product capabilities, and local knowledge, we cannot have only two of the three. We need to have all three to be successful. And going forward, it's something must be very local to help us to define our own market. So I think that if you talk about I also was very fascinating when I was like listening to the previous session, where all the other countries were talking about like how strong Google, Facebook, and Line are in their market. We're talking about like we as a local company trying to define our market. I think that's kind of the logic and the history where we are from. And looking forward for us, and recently we just reached the level of like 25 million users on Zalo. And we are confident that by the end of this year, we'll create a big distance with Facebook alone. So we feel that we are in a very exciting time, and we have to move forward into the ecosystem development. And what we learned from ecosystem is it's not something that we do ourselves. It must be something that we cooperate with others. Sometimes we invest into some companies. Sometimes we grow the capabilities inside of the company. And sometimes you just go out and do the cooperation with other partners in the industry. And to be honest, today like we have like two other guest speakers here, and they both are our partners in the ecosystem development. So when we think about, so there's a question before about different segments in the market. And I would say that media, even though it's dominated by local Vietnamese companies, advertising is dominated by Google and Facebook in Vietnam at this moment. Game is something that we have the strength in, especially when it comes to mobile game at this moment. So that's where we think that we have the strength. We can continue to grow. But looking at mobile messaging, and for us, it's all about mobile at this moment. When we look at mobile, it started with communication. So the very first thing is about messaging. Stickers is something very native to communication. Second thing is about information. So we brought, so we had a company that we acquired, Bao Mới, which is the news aggregator. And it's currently the #1 news aggregator and news distribution mobile application in Vietnam. And bringing news to the user platform is the next thing. And then it comes to mobile games. So mobile game is something that we are investing at this moment. And what's next? What's next for us is really about commerce. And when we see commerce in Vietnam, we see two things. So it's a traditional e-commerce part, which I would say like the investment is coming in a lot. The dominant players in Vietnam are unfortunately all foreign companies because it requires a lot of investment into different areas because the infrastructure in Vietnam is still very bad. Payment is bad. Logistics, there's a lot of things to do. So a lot of things to do in that, and e-commerce is one thing. But when we look at e-commerce, we know that it's only less than 1% of the total retail, and the rest of it is huge. And that's where O2O, the online to offline, is. And that's where we want to go. Because as a user platform, what we want to do is we want to connect the user on one side and the merchant on the other side. And with that, I'd like to go to the online to offline concept. And to be honest, when people ask us about online to offline, there's a lot of different definition for this because it's a wide concept. But here I just want to give some kind of brief way of how we look at it. It's basically it's just the way that we take the whole value chain and take a part of it to online. So essentially, O2O is still very much about offline with a section of it going online. And internet is a medium for online transaction. And that's where we see as O2O is. And especially when mobile is coming into play, then there is a huge market because mobile is the best connection between online to offline. When we look at the value chains, and normally the value chain will be, there's a section about traffic and user traffic. There are two things, is online traffic as well as offline traffic. And when we talk about O2O, we cannot ignore the offline traffic because even though we think about online as a huge market, there's a lot of people still like go offline, especially in Vietnam. Then we have the place where we display the product, the contents, the promotions, and then the order still like go back to offline. And in here, mobile payment is something like kind of optional because most of the transactions still like go back to offline. So mobile, in some cases, is very important, especially when people don't want to go to the place. But in many cases, it's something that that like still can be done locally in the retail. So with that, I think the very first thing that I would like to show to you is about Vietnam. It's all about pictures. How many of you here have been to Vietnam? Can you show hand? So not many. Okay, so it's a good thing that I show you. So this picture is about, this is the center of the downtown Ho Chi Minh City. So this is something like happening every day. You see that like, so for us, the city is very heavy populated, and I think it's probably the density is very much like in Seoul, with the motorbike is the #1, that's the most important transportation means. And public transportation is not very popular in Vietnam. It's normally for kind of, so currently bus is still like the #1 transportation means in the cities. It's normally used by students and kind of low income people. So public transportation and the combination of the bike leads to the transportation and kind of the local behavior. So lots of Vietnamese people are kind of going for the local things, even though they are willing to travel. Lots of things still happen within a very short distance from where they live. And that's one of the key differentiator of Vietnam, especially in the cities. Bus and trains are still like very important in the city transportation. The network's not very good. And still you see that there's long queues of people like waiting in and go and get the tickets. It's not something very convenient. So transportation is probably like one of the things that shapes the pattern of commerce. The second thing is about people and behavior. And Vietnamese people are social, so I think it's something very similar to other like East Asian and South Asian countries. Vietnam is probably something that if I have to talk about the difference, Vietnam is in the past, Vietnam used to be called Indochina because it's a combination of the East Asian culture and the South Asian kind of roots. And Vietnamese people are very social, so they just go out for shopping together. Coffee places are like full. It's not only for women. It's like men hang out there a lot. And there's a lot of men and women there. Movies and also like foods. Everything is like happening on the streets, in the public areas. So when it came to PC, PC is something like Vietnamese people are kind of torn between PC and social. Because once you are on the PC, you cannot be social. Mobile is the cure. Because with mobile, you can bring the internet with you, going for the social activities. And the setting, that's where O2O is. So when we look into that, and we see that there are two areas, so two different values that internet can bring to people. One is line bypassing, so wherever people don't want to go there, in advance, they don't want to go there, they want to bypass the line, then O2O can help to give them the ability to just like bypass the line. And in this, movie ticket is probably like one of the very big payment scenario. Music event, so Korean music is huge in Vietnam as well. And that's where people kind of try to skip the line, and they don't want to go there because they have to go there to buy the ticket once, and then they have to return another time. They don't want to go there. Airlines, however, was dominated by the airlines themselves, so that's something that I wouldn't touch this time. Taxi booking is huge, and probably that's one of the very few scenarios where people are paying a lot of money very frequently. And then bus is mostly for intercity bus, and train, but train currently is still like very heavily kind of dominated by the old government-owned company, so it's still like very traditional and underdeveloped. The second value that mobile can bring in is to direct people to make a better choice of where to go, because transportation is not something that is very convenient. So people are willing to do that, but they want to plan a little bit. Once they get in, since there are too many choices and too many people around, they want to make the decision where they go. And that's where another thing that can come into play is like, okay, so how internet can help people to make the better choice of where to go. And that's where food directory, food delivery, and also like local targeted coupon and stamps is another kind of model that we see that will grow in Vietnam. So I'll go into different segments. So the very first segment is about movie and event ticketing. So a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, we had the idea that we would like to help all these cineplexes to get more users to come in and kind of pay the ticket, because in Vietnam, probably the thing that people pay online the most is really movie tickets. They don't want to come in. They definitely would like to have the ticket. And I think companies did very well to educate people that let's go online and book the ticket. So we started 123 Film, which is a kind of a common platform for the cineplexes to aggregate, to bring the users to the platform and buy the ticket there. It's something very simple, and still it's a very popular app right now in Vietnam. With the web, it still accounts for almost 1 million monthly active users at this moment. The mobile part is growing very fast, and currently we account for about 15% of the total online ticket booking in Vietnam. And the market is growing very fast. And we see that this is a place where we can bring the customer in. We help them to make the decision much better. We had a case study that we helped a new cineplex came in, and within only 2 months they reached, and even they surpassed another cineplex about 3 years old before that, because the customer can detect and realize that there's a cineplex very close to them. And for many people, still they have a belief that in one cineplex they have better program than in another. It's not the case, and we give them the information. So the second application is a business model that kind of arose in Vietnam recently. It's a model of ticket sales and event PR. Ticketbox is a very new website. That's still very much web, but they have the mobile interface is probably the most important part for them right now. The size is still very small, but last year, and actually the growth rate is very high. So their revenue for GMV, so the gross merchandise value that goes through the platform in this quarter, in Q1 2015 alone, is bigger than the whole 2014 for them. So it's a very big and growing market, and still it's very much open. Still very like the company is still like accounts for a very small part of the market. Taxi booking in Vietnam is very interesting, but it's a case study for local and offline. So in Vietnam, everyone thought that like, at the beginning it's like, okay, so Uber would be like the number one. Actually in Vietnam, Grab Taxi is number one, and Grab Taxi is coming from Malaysia. Their approach is a very local way of doing. So they provide the platform for taxi companies, taxi drivers, rather than kind of competing directly with them. And they did a lot of the promotions targeting maybe a lower level users. So like more than a month ago was my father's birthday, and I came to my aunt asking for a suggestion of what I should buy for my dad. And to my surprise, she told me that you go out and get a Samsung phone, have a Grab Taxi application installed on it, because your parents will need it. And she is 55 years old. That's something that kind of shocked me. Actually, my aunt got a Samsung Galaxy Note, and the number one application that she used is not Facebook, it's not anything else, it's Grab Taxi. And I would say that something very recently they launched Grab Bike, which is something like very unique for Vietnam. So like people are still like riding on a motorbike and kind of carrying passenger on the motorbike. And they developed this. They had their advertising on the peddler shops selling bread on the street. It's just amazing what happened. But what I try to say is, and look at the market shares, that they are like almost 2/3 of the market share. They are targeting lower segment of the market. They're not targeting kind of the upper market. Actually, I would say that that's probably the right way to go. As somebody asked me before why Zalo could compete with companies like Line or Kakao, because we were targeting the lower part of the market first. We didn't go for the high-end market. Secondly, it's all about local. So just a local business, they go very local to the drivers. They help them how to help them to understand the service, help them how to use the market, how to use the applications and develop their own market. I think there's a very clever way. So I said that taxi booking is something like will grow very fast in Vietnam. Uber is something new. I think they are still growing, but then I think they will have a hard time competing with the local companies. And the companies are taking the local approach like Grab Taxi. Okay. Intercity bus ticketing. So this is like one of the applications VSSA, which is like chip ticket in Vietnamese. And they launched recently. They got access to about 5% of the inventory in the market. Actually, 3 days ago, another company just came into the market. They want to do the same thing. So they want to move everything, the ticket, from like offline to online. But then, ticket booking is not something that people just go purely online. So there's a lot of transactions done over the phone. And I would say that this is like another area where we see like a lot of growth in the future. Food order and restaurant listing in Vietnam, we have a couple of models for food ordering. We have a couple of websites. So we have Vietnam MM, Food Panda by Rocket Internet. and eat.vn, they all address a smaller number of users, smaller number of restaurants. While restaurant listing is something more popular, so Foodie is like one of a local company, grew very fast because they could just go out and get access to like 50 times the number of restaurants that they can put on their platform. And we have another one, which is Địa điểm ăn uống. Both of these are very popular among Vietnamese people right now. So another area that we see in is like, so the very first part, so I was talking about the ticketing, which is like line bypassing. We have the local directory, and then something that we see recently is there's another way that we can utilize the local traffic, turn them onto mobile, and then use that onto mobile, lead them to the right place by providing the coupons. So we work with Yap, and it came from like one of our visits to Korea last year. And very quickly, after 2 months, we like localized the app, took the technology from Korea, the business model, and we did the development. And we started with the trial and with a couple of partners, and right now, Shop and Go is still like the #1 partner that we have in here. And we are still like working on the business model tweaking before we just like push the launch in Vietnam. We also work with K.E.Y, bringing their like trying to look for an opportunity to kind of cooperate in terms of the beacon technologies and how to incorporate that with the traffic and the user base that we have. So going through all of that, I just want to maybe like recap with a couple of probably like insights, also advice that we see. So O2O is all about local. It's about local culture. It's about local economic and social drivers. So you need to have a very strong local team. Either it's your own team, or you should participate with like maybe cooperate with someone local, because lots of things won't happen exactly the same way. So it's one thing. Second thing is, if you bring the technology and business model, and that's the way that we try to cooperate with Korean partners, then definitely you need to be flexible, because it's a lot about localization, adaptation to the market. And also, the cooperation and understanding is very important. We work with different partners in our business before, and we see that it's not that the technology, it's not the content, but the cooperation that helps to drive the success of the business. And one thing, if you look at my presentation before and the presentations of different business models, we don't have many strong players in Vietnam yet. The market is still like very much open, so all of them are very small. It's just beginning. And when I look at Korea, and I would say that Korea is like fast forwarding of Vietnam for the next like 3-4 years. Mobile market innovation, mobile innovation, I see that Korea is probably like one of the places that we'd like to learn from. So if you can bring that to a market that is still like widely open, it's in there. Vietnamese people are very open to the new things. And one of the things that you see already in Vietnam, the most popular applications are either Vietnamese or American. And I think that even like American products are like even more popular. With mobile, the barrier is not very, very big. Even the distribution barrier is not very big. So I would say that it's a kind of very much open. But Vietnamese market won't boom overnight. And that's another thing that we communicated with our partners. It's not something that is ready yet. The ecosystem is still very weak. So you need patience coming to Vietnam. And another thing is building a strong user base on one hand, and refining the business model on the other hand is very important, because you cannot just like go with one of the two. Right? And a friend of mine said that, oh, it's true for any business. I would say that it's especially true for retail, for O2O. And finally, profit won't come overnight as well. So you need to invest into acquiring the users. Make sure that you have the right profit model, but then everything will happen after that. And that has a lot of implications to the investment, to the time, to building a sustainable business model and a company. So it's not something that is just like you come in, take the market by a storm. It's not something that happened in Vietnam. And I think with that, I would like to kind of close my presentation in here. And in case you have a question, then here's my contact info, and I'll be available later on for the panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Tien, for sharing, walking us through the Vietnam mobile and internet ecosystem. And next presenter is Mr. Wing Tien from M Service. He's going to walk through the fintech market in Vietnam.
Right. Thanks a lot, SK, and thank you for attending us. I think a little bit, I will share a little bit about three things in my section. The first is a little bit about the ecosystem in Vietnam, especially in startup. The second is about the fintech areas, and finally about the case study that my company is working on. So that's the first three things. So let's move on with the first, I think, diagram. This can look like a startup, Vietnam startup ecosystem. We have a few things. Let's talk about this part first. So actually in Vietnam, IDG Venture Capital is the one who really active for last almost 10 years. They put in about like 100 million US dollar and support like tens of companies. So I think IDG is the one who really create the startup, one who create the startup environment in Vietnam. So so after IDG, there are more and more investors coming in, including a few Japanese companies, such as Sumitomo and other companies. So besides the Syrian company, we have a lot of companies having a seed fund and incubator for startups. We can tell a few cases like VNP is one of the largest e-commerce companies in Vietnam. They are invested by I think IDG and then a few other Japanese investors. So they set aside a fund and try to create a lot of incubator inside their company. So the same to the many other companies as well. And there are also a few, I think more and more accelerator in which they, for example, Topica Institute is the institute that try to train the entrepreneur how to do the startup, from like how to do the business plan, how to approach the investor, so on and so forth. So I think they did a quite good job because a few of their students have successful start a company and gain a first round of investment. So that's the area of investment. Besides, the government also put a lot of effort into trying to create a startup environment. We can have a few institutions like Vietnam Silicon Valley or NASDAQ is an institution from the Ministry of Technology and Science, and so on and so forth. And you know that, as Tien mentioned, VNG is so a corporate style, also create many kind of startup inside the large corporation. For example, he mentioned like inside VNG have a lot of new startup themselves. One of the biggest players over in this area is Viettel. Viettel is the biggest telco in Vietnam. I think they account for about like 70% of market share, have a lot of money, and now they try to shift themselves out of the telco space to invest more in the new venture, and they also have invest a lot of this area. In terms of other areas like events, so there are many sub-events inside the startup community, like Startup VN have a lot of hackathon, have a demo day, a lot of activities to put the startup together, to share the experience, to learn from each other, or to bring the investor to see many potential players in the areas. We also have a few in community and media. Launch is a community on Facebook. Currently have up more than 10,000 people who are really engaging and actively discussing, exchanging ideas, looking for people on that Facebook page. We also have other Vietnamese website, media website, focusing only on startup like action.vn or also the other website. So you can see in this picture, of course, we have one more last thing is the co-working space. The group, company, and create a working space for startup, go together and work together over there. So you can see the whole picture. Like basically, I think for the last 5 to 10 years, Vietnam already got a pretty complete the ecosystem for the startup to go on to grow. So I will stress a little bit more on investment. So as I mentioned, IDG Venture is the one who really pushed the market forward. But after IDG come, so the second round, second trend of investors are many investors from Japan and from US. Over here you see Cyber Agent is the one who very active this day in the area of venture investment. Tiến mentioned Foodie and Vé and a few of other auto companies. Those companies are invested by Cyber Agent, and also the other company from Japan. They are emerging players from US. They are pretty new with the market. They come and test the water. They organize something called hackathon and a few other events to see how's market going. And the results are pretty good. That they already they invest themselves or back up some accelerator to invest in the company, startup company in Vietnam. So I think there's we're talking about the investment. I think I will spend a little time talking about the company itself. So I think e-commerce is one of for the last few years, e-commerce is a battlefield of many companies. The number of e-commerce startup is huge. And finally, I think the battle is become a battle of a few very big players. All the small players, I think, mostly are not in the picture anymore. So the first one we can mention the Vin.com. Vin.com is a huge startup from Vin Group, which is invested and supported by the first billionaire of Vietnam. So they put about like $100 million upfront to invest for this kind of startup. For the day one, they hire like thousands of people. But I heard like maybe 3,000-4,000 people just the day one to create a e-commerce space. So I think that's a guy that we mention a lot these days in the e-commerce area in Vietnam. Of course, Rocket Internet is already been in the country with the two investments, Lazada and Zalora, and I think they are kind of the top players over here, in this market. And for the small local player already gone, we have a few large players still playing, but I think they have a lot of pressure from these, I think, enormous players with a lot of financial backup. We can mention here is Tiki, is the e-commerce focusing on the book selling similar to Amazon, but the NBC Corp, there are a few other local players still. try to fight. As Dean mentioned, last few years is a very interesting year of the OTT world with the fighting between Zalo, Line, Viber, and I think it seems the war is coming to the end with I think two top players stay, which are Zalo and Viber. Mobile game Vietnam has a very exciting year with the mobile games because we have one guy who created a game named Flappy Bird, and it's become the world phenomenon. That's why a lot of young independent developers want to be like him, and all of them quit their job and go out to create their own mobile game, and hopefully someday they will become the guy. And that's why mobile game is pretty fragmented over here. A lot of companies doing so. There's rising Uber-like model. We have a few startups doing model of Uber, but for the maid, you can order a maid coming to your house, just cleaning your house for 2-3 hours, and gone. So as I know, there are at least 3-4 companies is focusing on this area. Besides Uber, it's just for the transportation. Then another few more companies trying to follow the Uber model in logistics. They can help the truck driver matching with the demand from each other. And yeah, Tien already mentioned motorbike with grab bike is another very interesting thing because in Vietnam a lot of people running moto, and we have a lot of we call xe ôm with people who just drive. So that's another interesting thing. So that's a bit highlight about the startup ecosystem in Vietnam. So now I will focus more on what I spend my energy and time for the almost more than last 5 years on is the payment ecosystem and the fintech in Vietnam. So before talking about a case study, which is the companies I'm doing, we take a glance at the overview. So we can confirm that Vietnam is still the cash economy, which is just about 20% of population have bank account or ATM card. But in this 20%, the real number is still much lower. I think maybe around 10%, because many of them just have the bank account because their company pays them into the bank account. But at the payday, they stand in front of the ATM and wait for the company transfer to the bank account, and immediately they cash out the money all. So it means that they doesn't use the bank account for any reason. They just have to do so. So the real number is much lower than 20%. The population have credit card, and which actively is real low. I think it's around 1%. And because of cash, because the bank is so low, credit card is so low, many companies have think their own way to do the payment, or with the support of telco. I will move next forward. So you can see, besides those things, besides cash, besides bank account, people for the micro payment, people use the telco SMS. For example, I want to buy a book with $1. So you can buy the book $1 by just text a message, and the company have to pay 50% of the revenue to the payment to the telco, which is crazy and which is huge. So you earn $1, you give away half of them for the telco because they help you to collect money. That's crazy. Another thing, a little bit cheaper, which is the users can go out to buy a telco card, the scratch card, and you go home and key in the number, the scratch card number, to pay for something, and with this method, the telco charge you 15% for the payment. It's still crazy, right? On the revenue. So because of this one is too crazy, many companies think of issue their own payment card and distribute themselves. Actually, VNG is one of the leading company doing such a thing. They issue their own game card, but actually the fee to issue the card is not cheap at all. Like it go up to around 10%, and actually it's not your expertise. Your expertise create games, create like goods, create service. Not expertise create the card and physical card and distribute the card all around by yourself. It is a lot of logistics, a lot of headache in that, but people still have to do so, a lot of companies. As I mentioned, Visa card is just about 1%, but it's expensive. It's crazy expensive, especially you pay with your Visa MasterCard online. It's much more expensive than you swipe the card offline, because online the bank have more risk. That's why they charge crazy fee. It's about 3.5% plus a high fixed amount. And of course, for the bank user, you have a local payment, but the local payment is not reliable at all. Normally, when I try to do, you try 10 times, you fail 4 times. The reliability is so low that people don't even try to use the next time. So you see, so that's a picture. So what does it mean? I think the picture is huge opportunity. The merchant, the company love your support to reduce the amount of money they have to pay, or otherwise they have to go with COD. And the rate of COD in Vietnam, I think, is go up to 95% or even more. And people don't like that, but they don't have choice. And another thing, first, that's for the high segment, for the, let's say, for the rich people. How about the low-income people in Vietnam? Actually, in Vietnam, there are huge people, a lot of people are, we can say, low-income. For example, one segment of that is the migrant workers. We have around 16 million of migrant workers. 16 million of migrant workers. And most of them working away from home. And what they need, the first thing, the first and essential thing they need is sending money home. Because you go away, you earn money. And the first thing, you don't save yourself. You need to send money home to support your children, your parents, and things. And see, this is the statistic done by the UN. About 70% of them bring money home themselves. About 8% ask their friends or the people who in the same village bring money home for them. Only they go to the bus station, about 3%. What they do is they go to give cash to the drivers without any, confirmation, only with trust. And the driver drive home, and your family goes there and pick the money. That's the way to do. And post office and bank is this number. So we ask people, why do you don't use the bank? There are a few problems. The first, there doesn't have bank branches at their hometown, because the bank branch is limited in a country like Vietnam. And second, they said that the bank is not for me. When I go to a bank, I have to fill in many forms, it scares me, and the teller of the bank doesn't like me. I just have about like $10, $20. I don't like bank. I just don't like it. And so the way is bring money home. And it causes a lot of problem because they don't have the place to store their money, because they are migrant workers, they don't have bank account, they only keep the money inside themselves. And it have a high risk of losing all the money, but they cannot come home very frequently. They can just come home like after 3 months, 6 months, and still have to keep money over there. High risk. So again, That's another picture for a little bit lower income segments. So what is the message over here? The message is still here is the opportunity is huge, right? Because a lot of people are happy to pay money to get a better service for both for the migrant workers, for both for the company, for both the merchants, and both for users. Of course, I think opportunities go with challenges. What are the challenges that make this picture look so, let's say, gray? I think there are a few challenges. Many fintech companies have tried this area, and most of them fail. What's the problem? The first problem is a lot of companies come to the market and try to do the easy way. They rely on bank. They have e-wallet run on bank to support. But you know, the banking system itself is terrible. And you want to rely on the terrible guy to help you. That doesn't work, of course, right? And most of them do such a way. PayPal come, a lot of like payment company from Hong Kong, and even we have about 10 local companies doing such a thing. And most of them doesn't work. So let's talk about what we try to do. So actually, my company name is M Service, which I think with a mission from which I've been in this company for 5 years. So our mission is to increase the life of people using financial service through mobile technology, because it trusts that mobile technology is the way. But we have to reinvent the game. We have need to find a more innovative way to solve a problem. You cannot use the old way, which doesn't work. So what we try to do is, we say first, if we want to change the game, we have to find a new way of doing it. But in the fintech company, the most problem with this area is if you find a new way, you have to face a new regulation. Because the old way, they support the bank. So we spent 3 years just talking to the regulators, bringing to different conferences, and persuade that we have a new model. And that model works and have a little bit risk, but not much. And you suppose us to do. And after 3 years, we have a license to do what we call mobile money in Vietnam. I will talk more detail about mobile money. But that's the first thing we have done. We spent a lot of time in create a new games, and by that way we need a new way of regulation. So basically we got the regulation of from State Bank of Vietnam to create what we call the nationwide cash in cash out agent. I will talk a little bit more about that. We are invested by Goldman Sachs 2003. We win 3 years in a row best mobile solution, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I will tell what we do. Why? We think that what we do is we follow many models that have been successful. I will fast track to the. Okay, what we do is here. You know, like with the very high penetration in Vietnam of mobile phone, so there are a lot of these shops like this, so people can go to the shop to top up their phone. There are thousands of these shops in Vietnam. It's everywhere, right? And the behavior of people go to the shop is, they go to the shop, they read their phone number, and the shop owner charge their phone to this number. And we get a license from the regulation that to turn all those shops into the financial shop, in which people can go there to send money and receive money. So we have got the license, and we go to talk to the other shops that please cooperate with us to provide like financial services, which are they have 5 services in the shop. The first is send money For example, I want to send money to Tien. I go to the shop. I just give money to him, and I fill in the form, including his name, his ID number, and his phone number. That's it. That's all they have to write down. And immediately, Tien will get an SMS. And he just have to bring the SMS and his ID to any shop near his house, give to the agent, and he gets the cash. Very simple, very easy. And if they don't need anything, they just need any kind of phone because it's work on SMS, and you just need an ID. So currently we have more than 4,000 shops like this in Vietnam. So put in perspective, the largest bank in Vietnam have about 1,000 branches, and we have 4,000. And it just covers half of the country. We are going to cover full country, and the number of agents will go up to about 10,000 of shops like this across Vietnam. So in every corner, it's in your village, it's next to a house, it's everywhere. So you can send and receive money very easy, simple. That's another picture of the shop. So we decorate the shop. Momo is stand for mobile money. Momo money transfer. It is the Nhật Huy mobile, the North China name. We decorate them like this. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we move up. This is we provide over-the-counter money transfer, which is they go there. They don't have to think. They pay bill. They change money transfer, do other things. And we also move up a little bit to serve the merchant and to serve the user who have, we say, more tech savvy. So we also design the service at the counter like this. We also create an application. So we launched the app last July, and currently we have more than 300,000 users. So the app is already in the top 3 financial app in Vietnam for the last whole year. So what the app do? The first is it helps money transfer. So you only have to know your friend's mobile number. Don't need a bank account. Don't need anything. Just your friend's mobile number in your contact list, and you can transfer money directly to him. Very simple, very easy. So with this kind of app, the biggest problem is how you can load, we can say how we can cash in or cash loading. So people can go to the shop and read the mobile number for the shop owner and give him cash, and he will top up the money in your account. Very simple, very easy. You also can cash out, like by going to the shop. So I can send money to him. I just go to the shop, load the money in, boom. He receives the money in his account, and he can cash out as he wants. So this one also connected to the bank. We are connecting all the banks in Vietnam. We connect with credit cards, all the financial institutions. So people can send money using any kind of sort of fund, either cash. So with cash, they go to the shop agent. With the bank, they connect with the bank, with the credit card. So faster cash in. They also can cash out for all those sort of funds, source of means. So it's simple, it's safe, it's personal. And we have both like on Windows Phone, Android, and iOS. We have them more. So besides, they also pay bill on this one. That's easy, right? So all the bill is stored over here. So it will remind you the time you have to pay bill. You just click and pay. And so we try to solve the problem of merchant sign. We cooperate with all the O2O that Tien mentioned. We cooperate with VSA, we cooperate with 123 movies like this. So here we work very closely with VNG to link the app. So actually it's on Momo app, but we get the content from 123 movies. And so in this way, the customer journey is seamlessly. So you go to the app, you choose the movie, and we pay. And they already just one click, and they got the ticket. They don't have to get out the card and fill in all the information. It's similar to Uber. When you go Uber, when you go out of the cab, you just press finish and it's gone. So we're promoting the one-click payment, doing such a thing. So we try to solve the problem. And we can do, if you are in another app, you also can just choose a Momo e-wallet and you receive a payment request, for example, with Viber, and you can pay. That's another thing. So here you also can find the shop on your app. There's a lot of shop over here. So what we learn from this story, the first is, I think we cannot rely on the thing that's not healthy. We have created our own. That's why we spend a lot of time and energy create a shop, right? And then we move up. Having the shop, the trust is increased because, like in Vietnam, I think starting with online maybe doesn't work. You have starting something with offline first. So people see the shop, the trust, they say, okay, there's something physical over there. I can trust. If I have any problem, I can go there and talk to someone. And with that, we try to educate the users gradually, because educating people using from cash to something cannot touchable is hard as well. So I will have a few brief. So let's talk about I think the startup ecosystem in Vietnam is changing fast for the last 10 years with the help of IDG and many other funds. But I think there are a few problems. Of course, the human capital is also the problem. But I think in my experience as a management, I think there are a lot of potential and a lot of good people have skill over there. But what they need is they need to be trained, to be helped, to be more professional. But they have talent, quite a lot of talent. And of course, the industry needs more funding. Vietnam FinTech is a huge opportunity, I think huge. And the State Bank of Vietnam is more and more open and supportive. So I think that's an area that new investor may want to come together and work together, because the cake is still very small. We can together make it much bigger before we divide it. And about Momo, so what we do is we are a growing startup and we're starting with offline and we're trying to work online. So that's the last thing. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tuấn, for walking us through the startup scene in Vietnam and also fintech area. Next guest, Aronia, gonna also bring us to the retail industry in Vietnam and also sharing his view on technology and mobile business.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll start by Vietnam amongst the Asia's faster-growing economies is driven by increasing disposable income and rapid urbanization. What do we mean by that? So Vietnam is witnessing strong growth in GDP, and of course it's an emerging middle class, which means that there are more middle class getting more and more compared to the lower income. And people are changing their habits towards their lifestyle and to modern driving for higher income, improving their lifestyles, their standard cost of living. 60% of the 90 million population, they are below 35 years old. 32% of the total population and rapid urbanization across the country is expected. So it's going to get increased higher and higher. And ensuring cities are livable and convenient is an essential part of Vietnam's economic development strategy. So this is the rough summary data, which is the GDP nearly 6%, CPI of 158, population of 92.5 million, inflation 4%, less than 5%, they are managing it well, and trade surplus of 2.14 billion, and FDIs, which is increasing year by year. So why we do retail? So in the C-store market, which is convenience store market, there are less retail players right now. So what we do is we partner with foreign ownership, which is like right now there is people like Aeon, Family Mart, Mini Stop, Circle K are all in Vietnam. So NTUC Singapore partner with Co-op, which they just recently opened Vivo City last week. Then E-Mart of Korea will be opening another supermarket in Vietnam soon. So rising urban population in emerging markets gives opportunity to the new market, especially in Asian markets such as India, Indonesia, and China. This move is likely to be accentuated by the gain of modern grocery channels. So people are changing from the traditional trade to the modern trade. Key point, as convenience store players operate more efficiently by opening clusters of stores that can be supplied from one distribution center, and they will continue to focus on the larger city, which is Ho Chi Minh and Hanoi, and especially multinational retailers targeting middle-class consumers. So the general trade, which is still very strong with the older people, so the younger people are the ones which will go to the modern market, to the modern trade market, which is the convenience store and the supermarket. More opportunities than threats from internet retailing in long term. Convenience stores in Japan and Taiwan have already paved their way in developing synergies and internet retailing services to offset the effects of channels maturity and models expansion prospects. This services has increased the this service have helped to increase the foot traffic, which gets more people into our stores. So at 7-Eleven started the kiosks to buy train tickets, collect books, and other items from auction sites, and virtual shopping centers such as Rakuten. The chain has also developed its own internet retailing site based on click and collect deliveries. In Europe, there's Casino and Tesco, which are pretty much the same. So Virtual Convenience Store, which we all know, has done in 2011, Tesco Home Plus unit in South Korea unveiled the M-commerce service, which allows commuters to scan their QR code from a poster in a subway. So the challenges for the players will be they have to create new partnerships with the retailers, and service providers could require large investment to process online effectively and store products. And they have to build a distribution infrastructure to meet the logistic challenges, which is cost-effective and rapid home deliveries, relies on large scale of operations. Longer terms and future implications for retailers is convenience store may acquire pure-play internet retailers and gain e-commerce expertise and achieve higher margins through vertical integration. So this is how our store looks like. So we started in 2005. We are 24 hours. We are 130 stores in Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi. We have more than 2,000 SKUs, over 800 employees. So we have done partnership with, in March 2012, we done with VNG, upload selfie photos competition. You upload your selfie photos online with the product, and you get it on the ZingMe, and then your friends will vote, and the highest will win the competition, which I will show you later. June 2013, we partner with Ticketbox and the other ticket partners, which we sell concert tickets, even K-pop tickets as well. And last year, December, we did an online fever, which is partnering with all the online companies with our offline channel. And that was an exclusive partnership. And in February recently, we kickstart the Zalora pickup point. And in March recently, we just launched the Yup mobile application. So the details as follow. So what we do, we had the biggest collaboration between online and offline, O2O. We are the offline exclusive partner. So all the e-commerce online companies, they come together to run their crazy discounts for 1 week. All websites advertise for each other from 5th to 12th December, which is about a week. And the result was phenomenal. The discounts were grabbed up within 12 hours, especially the air tickets, which is with Jetstar. And we plan to do this as a yearly event since it was a success. So they did a press conference. So the other one which we did for the young people, we partner with top 5 reputable universities, which is near to our stores. And we did a Mr. and Miss Zalora, which we encourage the students to buy products from our store, and later you join the promotion where you can upload your photos. It can be any photos. And of course, Vietnamese young people like to be popular, like to be known to their friends, so they upload the photos on Zalora, and the winner will get a 5-star hotel dinner, professional photo studio, before and after makeover, and it will be appearing in the magazine's websites by our partners and also on Facebook for Zalora. So over 3,000 students joined the promotion. Next, we partner with K.E.Y in Japan on their beverages. So what they do is they have a mobile app, which is a game. What you do is you try to catch the butterflies, and you play and you win a ticket to the concert. So that was also a success because the young generation likes concert tickets, and there's no way they can buy the tickets. So they have to play the game and win the game and get the tickets. And for our 9th anniversary last year, we partnered with big players, Lazada, GrabTaxi, Zalora, Galaxy Cinemas, and PepsiCo. And what we did is we did a cross-promotion. We gave out 120,000 scratch cards. So why they like this is because it's an instant win, which means that you buy any products, you get these vouchers. And you can claim the vouchers by using all the promotions. So this is the one which is using the selfie, because selfie is a popular thing for these few years. So customers purchase the product of Pepsi. They need to hold the Pepsi product, and they need to take the photo of themselves and upload on Zingme, and call their friends to vote. What they can win is they can enjoy a karaoke session with popular pop stars like Dongni, K.E.Y, and The Men, which are the guys here. Yeah. So then over 5,000 customers participate in this successful talkboard promotion for that few months. So how we partner with Zalora, we sign up the exclusive partnership for a year. We will be able to, customers go to Zalora website or the mobile apps to choose their fashion merchandise. After that, they will just have to collect the items and select the stores nearest to their home. Usually, it will take 2 business days for Zalora to consolidate the orders. Customers that goes to Shop and Go will make the payment there and receive the item. Our staff will not be able to see your item because it's sealed in the box. And if customers are unhappy with their products, they can even return the products, and it creates confidence for them to buy through Zalora. So the Zalora benefits will be they are able to consolidate all the merchandise products in one day, proper software and system and control, save their transportation costs, cash on delivery, which is very popular in Vietnam. Majority of Vietnamese do not have credit cards, as we have discussed earlier. So with this method, they feel safer, they can pay cash, and they can get their goods the next 2 days. So the collection point will be for customers to collect their products, and they can choose the nearest store near their house or office. And it's also brand building for them, because I will put Zalora advertising in my stores. And for my benefit would be to increase sales and traffic coming into our stores, additional revenue, convenient and value-added service for our customers, brand building in Zalora websites and mobile apps. So this is the partnership recently with VNG and Yup Korea. As we all know, Yap Korea is the leading business O2O commerce platforms. So they have the popcorn promotions, coupons, mobile stamps, membership points, payments, and one single mobile app. So we launched the most recent, which is the Yap Beacon, which works on Bluetooth. It will push up pop-up messages to users, informing them on various promotional and discounts, events held by stores that we install the device inside the stores. So Yap stands out because they can use these on the high-frequency chips found in the budget phones, which are widely used in Vietnam. So budget phones, you can even use this. So when customers come into my store, the promotions will pop up on their phone. So this is the next one we are going to launch soon will be the mobile stamp loyalty program. Customers purchase products and collect Yap stamps by using Yap mobile application. Upon completion, customers will be able to redeem exciting gifts. We are able to partner these with big suppliers as well. Customers do not need to keep many VIP cards or loyalty cards in their wallet. Yap is more mobile application which is so convenient and more reliable and better control. This campaign is to promote loyalty among customers. Young customers will be excited to be part of this latest technology. So Yap Korea branding and POSM are found indoor and outdoor to create an awareness. The result was better than we expect. We have averagely 100 downloads per day. Shop and Go received 70% success rate from the customers that redeem the free Pepsi from Yap coupon. So what they do is when customers download the apps, they get a coupon which they can redeem in my stores. So the success rate was 70%, which is pretty good. So in the second half of 2015, we plan to do more cross promotions with the other merchants. Customers from other merchants will go to my stores and my customers will go to their other merchants' area, and we can redeem each other's special gifts and discounts. So we will be helping each other and we will build a good synergy. We will use the useful data we gather from Yap to understand our customers better and further improve. And we can get the bigger suppliers like Pepsi and all to do more marketing to improve sales and traffic. Yeah, that's about it.
All right, thank you, Aaron. Okay, let's move over to our group panel discussion. Well, hearing the Vietnam cases, even though there's a lot of limitation and lack of infrastructure in terms of payment, logistics, or like access to the mobile, but still, it's really amazing, you know. It's people or merchant or industry player becoming creative and offering better service. Within this restricted environment. Well, and also I think just because we keep talking about like Grab Taxi and Grab Bike, you know, I think suddenly I feel that we gotta push Grab Bike as like one of the popular tourism content in Vietnam. I think I seriously recommend all the people, if you have a chance to visit Vietnam, please download the Grab Bike app. And try to use it. I think I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a really great tourism experience in Vietnam. Okay, so for our group panel discussion, yeah, because first of all, Dien walk us through the kind of history of the VNZ, which is pretty much aligned with the involvement history of the Vietnam startup area, and then Dung walk us through the startup ecosystem and also payment fintech market, and Aaron shared the retail perspective view on this kind of new movement, and also lots of collaboration cases with the internet player and also retail players. Okay. Before I throw any question, why don't we have a receiving a question from the audience first? Because we didn't have any chance to ask on each speaker's presentation. So I think we can start by having a question first. Any question on a specific speaker or Vietnam market generally? Please. No? Okay, then let me start trying a question. Then, what do you think that as a major giant internet player, you guys are taking a lot of initiative and also developing many projects inside your company. But especially the reason you pick up the O2O business trend as a topic, is there any special reason?
Like I said, we see that local is a factor, very important factor for us to defend the market against the foreign companies. And also, going to the daily lives is something very important. And we see retail and all kind of different aspects. The traditional commerce is still very important for the end users, part of the normal life. That's why we want to go for that route. And we also kind of refer to a couple of other markets, and definitely like benchmark Korean market as well as a Chinese market. We say that it's coming up, and so that's why we think that it's a right area for us to focus and explore in the next couple of years.
Okay, but for Aaron, for your side, is it a decision for you, like when the VNG offered you that kind of collaboration among offline and online? How was it? How do you see it?
We are lucky enough to have the experience to work with a few partners online. So as previously we did a selfie promotion was like a few years back. So of course we are very happy to partner with online because they help us to drive more traffic from the other channels. So like usually they may be not my customers to be coming to my stores, but because they are customers or young people from VNG, which now they know about us, or they will be redeeming their gifts or the promotions coming to my stores. So that really helps me to drive more traffic to my stores.
I see. Yeah. Okay. Well, we were just talking about the Vietnam market before this session. Yeah. Surprised to know that Vietnam is one of very few countries. Yeah. Smoking rate is growing actually. Yeah. That means I think the population in Vietnam is really young, and which also like you can guess like it's very active and active in socializing and also engaging with a new service, new product. I think. So, but still, like even though your convenience store chain are really growing fast, and customers are easily stepping in your store to get like new promotion product or new services, but still, like do you sometimes feel some like a limitation of the collaboration, like which is available in the other end market, but something you cannot really do in Vietnam?
Yeah. So the barrier of entry would be like sometimes how we educate the customers on the new apps, the new mobile apps, like they have to download it and why they need to download it. And we also have to make sure that we launch it together with other merchants as well, because people like choices. So that's where they need more choices, more merchants to create and educate the customers. And of course, we need to be up with the model. That's why we did with the universities, because that will be the new customers that they can join in and participate, which is the same target market for online and offline, which is the younger generation.
I see. For the Momo service, how's your customer profile, like in terms of age or income? Do you see any uniqueness there?
Yeah, I think we have two segments of customers: the young student and I think the one who about like 24 to 35 years old, who graduate from university and working. Yeah.
Right.
So we can see like from the behaviors. So from the Momo app money transfer, we see like the people who are 24 to 35 doing bill payment and transfer money to each other with the amount about $15-20 quite frequently. While the other user segments, they are more like phone top up, mostly the behavior, the top behavior.
I see. So like for your business to reaching like 500,000 users on your platform,
Yeah.
what was your main channel or way of promotion?
We have two ways currently. The first is we work with cinema because actually with 123 movie and the cinema we been as a cinema and introduce the user that now that we can use this phone app with this payment method at home right away, or even at the coffee shop when you think of maybe we go to movie tonight. So we have an event, we have a campaign, offline campaign at the cinema for almost 3 months, and the number of users we acquire is pretty good. So basically, what I try to say is, we acquire user by user case. With a certain user case, for example, movie goers, we go directly to the cinema, to tell them that you can use this one for this case. Another case is bill payment. We are working with a lot of billers, for example, VTV Cap, which is a cable network of VTV, which is biggest nationwide cable network in Vietnam. We together with them to promote the user that you can use the Momo app to pay your bill. You don't have to you do not get the electricity cut or the cable cut just because you are busy at the office, and when the people who collect money come to your home, you cannot pay for it. So actually we select very specific user case and target the direct users of that
I see. Well, this kind of approach and strategy, is it quite similar with your approach in VNG too, or you can add anything?
I think because we have already a significant online footprint before we went into mobile, so we have a little bit of advantage of moving the users very quickly from our existing user base, and our music application, our news portal, all of those, the access from those was one of the main channel for us to drive the users. But then I think that's only a part of it. Still, we work with phone companies, with companies to install the application directly on the phone. We worked with cinemas and did the offline promotions in many places. So again, I think for the case of Zalo, because the use case is very simple, everyone knows. We phrase it as just an SMS killer. So we just go and replace the traditional SMS. Then it's very easy for people to get. And I think, so for us, simple message, right use case, still multiple channels. At the beginning, also, we had to invest into branding. And it's so funny that the most important branding message for us is sending voice messages. The percentage is still very low, but it created a very good brand. And gradually, once we reach a critical mass, now we don't have to invest a lot into distribution anymore. It's more kind of very natural for people to just go. So we shift our budget more from distribution into branding. At the beginning, it's a lot about distribution of the app. Other apps are different. So we have the Báo Mới, which is the news distribution app. For media apps, the connection between web and mobile is very natural. So people consuming the same content on mobile, on desktop, we just go mobile very easily. 123 Film is the movie application, is another different thing, and we use more the online channel to drive to it. So what we think about this is first of all, it's a combination of channel. We need to know this use case, like Dern said, it's really about the use case. If it's an offline use case, then the combination of online and offline is very important. If it's more kind of remote and online, more focused online, then online channel is more important. At some point, branding is quite critical.
I see. Okay. Well, I'd like to bring a bit more different topic. In terms of the economic collaboration, the Vietnam and Korea the relationship has been one of the most active, like especially the Korean big conglomerate companies are really active in Korea and making a lot of like co-working or co-investment together. But I think relatively, yeah, in startup area or technology area, I think the collaboration, like achievement or chances are a bit low, I think. Even though you already shared like your collaboration case with Yap Korea. So how do you see? You think there's a more area or possibility the Korean startup scene can link better with the Vietnam technology company or startup scene?
I think a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, then I'll go first. Actually, we think that mobile is the best area for cooperation.
Mobile.
Because Korea, probably Vietnam, I think Vietnamese company tried to work with Korean technology before, but I think in the past it's more about components and kind of fundamental technologies. So the cooperation was more in manufacturing and kind of fundamental research. But I think once it comes to mobile, then definitely it's a new opportunity. We can see a lot of different business models. So it's not only about technology, but it's also about business model that worked in Korea can be ported very easily to Vietnam. Of course, with some kind of local customization. So we see that that's one of the areas, and that's the reason why we paid the visit to Korea last year with some idea in mind. And I think that it turned out that we got a couple of very good cooperation coming out of that. So I think it's just a matter of picking the right area, and I think it's the right time for now. Having a lot of conglomerates like Korean conglomerates in Vietnam is also something good because, like in terms of movies, and then you have CJ in Vietnam already acquiring the biggest movie like cineplexes in Vietnam. So it's like cultural events, and you have K-pop events. In terms of retail, you have like this cooperation as well, hardware or manufacturers. So I think that gradually, maybe it's the right time before it didn't exist. And I think there's a lot of opportunity now. So when we talk to many contacts, and we see that it's like many areas in Korea can be applied directly to Vietnam these days. So opportunity is there. I think that the exposure is small. At the beginning of the session, I asked how many people visited Vietnam before, and just a couple of people. So I think at least whenever before you can just get into a country, you need to love the country first. You need to feel the opportunity first. So visiting the country, get to know a little bit more, get exposure, and I think one of the advice from our previous speaker, I think it's like getting the connection between the elder generation, people that really know the area, and the technology. Maybe that's the best way.
Okay. Well, Tương, for you, yeah, because like I told you many times that the payment area is one of the hottest topic, the hottest area in Korea, especially in startup scene, and not just startup scene. I mean, including the whole finance area as well. And also for me personally, I kind of getting a lot of ask or sometimes requests, how we can better connect with the Vietnam fintech company, from Korean businessmen. But what do you think? Are you getting some attention or some requests coming from Korean side, especially regarding the fintech business area? Plus, if Korean companies can fill up any any area, any missing part in Vietnam, the fintech world, what could it be?
I think actually fintech is moving to mobile right now. You can see because for example in my application I have quite a lot of things. First is money transfer, but second they have we want to turn in sending value, so you can buy gifts, sending to your friends on the app. You buy vouchers, sending things to send the vouchers to your friends. Basically, we call it from sending money to sending value. So actually, I was amazed that in Korea, all of those things is pretty well developed, and as basically, I think the area of payment, in my point of view, divided into two things. The first is about all the source of fund, the infrastructure. The second thing is about technology part, and we have more like contactless technology. So in terms of infrastructure, we are the ones who have to build it, because normally it takes time, as you mentioned. But in the technology part, with contactless technology, with QR code, with NFC, all those things, we can learn a lot from, and we can together with Korea company to do that, similar to Yap Korea that have done with VNG. So that's what we are very interested. That's the first thing. The second thing is investment. Actually, when I do the ecosystem research to share about here, share with you here, I was very surprised that the number of Korea investment into venture is pretty small. And actually, I put my questions myself, and actually I haven't got the answer yet, and I hope I will got some lead in this conference. But I'm not sure. Maybe, as Tien mentioned, you haven't known us enough to do something risk with us. You just do something very established, like building a bridge, build a house. But this one is, you have to invest in people. You have to invest something that intangible, and you're supposed to know us more. You're supposed to learn to love the country more. And second thing is, it's about the young generation of Korea, I guess. Like I feel that the old generation of Korea are more like doing something, not really startup spirit, but I feel more and more that the next generation, you guys have a stronger startup energy, and actually with the youngster generation of Vietnam, we can sing together much more than what Vietnam and Korea did in the past.
Right. Well, I think especially for Korean investor or companies, for them to collaborate more with Vietnam side, like Tien pointed out, it should be like right time, right place. I think there's no wonder for them like, oh, Vietnam is the right place. Sometimes they question like, is it really the right time? You know, we just talk about the payment area, so like maybe you two like in the game already, you know, as an industrial player, you might be a bit more biased or optimistic. But I would like to hear Aaron's opinion. Okay, as a retailer, on your more than 100 store, people actually pay, right? Normally cash. But how do you see? Is it really like right time to invest for this kind of new type of payment method? What do you think?
It will still take another few years, I would say, but you have to start educating, because it takes time to educate the young generation or to give them a chance to try. So I would say that it's the right time to start, but be prepared to, you know, teach out, because most of the population is actually right in the province, not only in Ho Chi Minh and Hanoi. Right. But we are very active in only these two cities. We did not really, you know, focus much in the province, which is the bigger market. So that's a chance, but yeah, you still need to wait a few more years, yeah, to see the results. Yeah.
Pretty much agree.
Yeah.
No other opinion.
No, actually, I put it in my slide. I think before. I think the time is right for particular things, so like mobile. But the window of opportunity is still there, but it won't happen as it won't boom overnight. So you need patience, you need investment, and I think it's like time is really a big investment, especially for startup area, I would say.
I see.
Right. I've been in business for 5 years. The company have been established for 7 years. And a lot of my friends like ask me, what kind of startup you are? Like, you have 7 years startup? Is that crazy? But again, yes, as both the gentlemen has mentioned, like building infrastructure is not fast. Actually,
Right.
we are trying to build in tech, the financial infrastructure in Vietnam is not fast. The first thing, educate people is not fast. The second thing, so we need patience. And in our expectation, it would be, we got a critical mass in about next 2 to 3 years,
Right.
not now.
Okay, I see. Well, time is running up, so we would like to just pass the mic to the audience. If there's any question, we'd like to take one or two. Yes, please.
안녕하세요. 저는 신한은행 핀테크 사업팀의 유장봉 과장입니다. 사실 먼저 그 베트남 시장, 특히 이제 모바일 커머스에 대한 궁금증이 많았었는데 그 좋은 분야에 계신 분들의 강의를 듣게 돼 너무 좋았고요. 그 잘로 같은 경우에 이제 약간 궁금한 점이 있어요. 잘로는 그 한국 같은 경우는 이제 카카오톡이라는 메신저가 있고, 그다음에 일본을 기반으로 한 라인 서비스, 라인 앱 같은 경우는 작년 말에 발표했던 것처럼 지금 서비스가 되는 것처럼 라인페이. 물론 지금 국내에도 뱅컬레 카카오나 카카오페이를 금융결제원을 통해서 제공하고 있는데, 잘로는 현재 그 페이먼트 사업을 자체적으로 그 플랫폼 내에서, 유저 플랫폼 내에서 구축해서 서비스를 제공할 계획을 갖고 계신지, 만약 갖고 계신다면 베트남 내에서의 특정 은행과의 제휴를 통해서 그걸 진행할 예정이신지, 아니면 물론 좀 이제 크리티컬한 질문일 수 있겠지만 뭐 한국의 대한민국의 금융결제원과 같은 그런 특별한 특정 기관과의 제휴를 통해서 진행할 것인지가 되게 궁금하고요. 그다음에 두 번째 질문은 이제 모모 서비스 관련해서 질문이 있습니다. 그 모모 서비스는 사실은 베트남 페이먼트 그 환경에서는 되게 적기에 필요한 서비스를 제공하고 있는 것처럼 보이는데, 그 기본적으로 제가 생각하기에는 그 우리나라에 있는 선불 프리페이드 페이먼트 서비스라고 생각을 하거든요. 선불 충전이 되어야 된다고 생각하는데, 모모 서비스를 통한 아까 송금이라든가 뭐 빌 페이먼트라든가 이런 여러 가지 기능을 수행하는데, 과연 그 선불 충전되어 있는 모모 서비스를 통한 오프라인 결제 가맹점이 활성화가 되어 있는지, 그리고 현금 결제가 되는 것보다 모모 페이먼트를 통한 결제가 이루어졌을 때 고객에게 베네핏을 제공할 수 있는 어떤 특정 락인할 수 있는 그런 유인 효과, 그런 게 유인책이 있는지 궁금하고요. 뭐 차례차례 질문을 드리는 거 아닌데, 그 아까 죄송합니다. 그 특정 샤뱅고죠.
샤뱅.
죄송합니다.
예.
샤뱅고죠. 네. 죄송합니다. 그 샤뱅고가 제가 알고 있기로는 아까 800개의 점포가 있다고 들었는데, 800개의 점포가 지금 어떻게
150개 정도 됩니다.
150개인가요? 네. 150개의 점포가 있다고 들었는데, 150개의 점포를 통해서 이제 뭐 고객으로 하여금 물건도 찾아갈 수 있고, 이제 배달하는 사람에게 현금을 주는 게 아니라 편의점에서 근무하는 직원에게 현금을 수납하는 개념이다 보니까 조금 더 안정적으로 물품 대금을 결제할 수 있다는 장점이 있는데, 과연 150개의 영업망을 가지고 그 어떤 특정 지역을 커버할 수 있는지, 아니면 지금처럼 급속한 성장을 해왔던 샤뱅고의 모습처럼 더 많은 점포를 확대해 나갈 수 있는 계획이신지가 궁금합니다. 본의 아니게 각각 하나씩 드리겠습니다. 고맙습니다.
Okay. Why don't we cover start from recent question?
Me first, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, we have 130, not 50. And basically, yeah, every month we are still opening 3 to 4 stores. Our target for this year is 160, and we will not stop expanding because in this business you cannot stop. Once you stop, your suppliers will lose confidence in you. Then yeah, you're right that we can do bill payments and everything. But so far we did work with one player, K.E.Y. They are doing that, but the commission that they pay us, it doesn't make sense because there's too much insurance risk management to do that. So basically the example I'll give you is like people pay their bills at the end of the month, which is a big amount of money. And if my staff handles the money, there's a chance that they will take the money because, as you know, their salary is pretty low. So like they may collect the money which is equivalent to 1 year of their salary or even 2 years. So there's a chance that they will take this money and run away to the province, which I cannot find them, and insurance will not cover that, and insurance is also very expensive. So the payment that they pay us sounds very ridiculous. It's like 3,000 dong per receipt, and they do not calculate by percentage. It doesn't mean that my bill payment is higher, I get a higher percentage. It calculates by per invoice, which is really minimal. So that's why we didn't go for bill payment, but we are doing upload cards and all for that. Yeah.
Okay. And then?
Okay, so I see there are two parts in the questions. The part is prepaid popular in Vietnam? And second is, does it make sense for us to provide another prepaid things, right? So the first part, like prepaid is huge things in Vietnam. For example, like in telco industry, 99%, I guess, or maybe number is not correct, but I'm sure that more than 90% of the mobile users are prepaid users. So prepaid is something very familiar and very convenient in a developing country. So that's the first question. The second question is, does we provide a kind of prepaid thing, and does it need it? Actually, I want to correct a little bit. We don't provide a prepaid thing. We try to digitalize the cash, and when we digitalize the cash, we can move the cash around quicker and faster. And when people need cash, we can turn the digitalized cash into a real cash. What we do, so when people we cash in, which is we digitalize the cash. When we use the digital money, we can pay for everything. And when we can add up all the merchants in their life, they don't need to cash out again. So their life will be much better. So what we do. We not really do a prepaid things over here.
Okay. And for Zalo?
Okay, so the question about Zalo, and actually I think that people compare us to Line and Kakao, but actually we are like 3 years probably behind them. I think just from the market position, then we can be compared with them. So when we look at other companies like Line, Kakao, and also WeChat, they started out. So I was talking about the movement from communication, then information, and then games, and then commerce, and payment is a part of the commerce part. And when we looked at it, it's like, why people do that? Because it should be something. The adoption rate for a service should be very important for us to choose which service to launch first and which service will go later on. So where we are right now, so after a couple of years focusing more on distribution, quality of service, of the communication service, we feel that we are quite confident with that. We feel that we are confident being the dominant player in the market. Then what we are working at this moment is really for games. And mobile game is where we combine the traditional gene that we have, so it's like it's there since day one, and our mobile platform. Sounds very easy. It's a capability to target the right users and lead them to the right content. And that's the ability that we are building up with our game business, and mobile game business is something like very exciting for us. In the past 3 months, we became like from the 4th player in the market. We are number 1 right now with like 40% of the market share very quickly with only 2 titles because we have the user platform. So going to the payment part, and the reason why we want to go into payment is not payment itself, because we want to serve as the connector between the seller and the buyer. And to do so, we need to know the characteristic of the users. So what kind of goods that each user want to consume. And payment is the mechanism for us to do so. And if we can do that, then we can charge much more for advertising. So for this is a couple of things that we need to have. One is the ability to target the users, analyze the user behavior, target the user. Secondly is the ability to just educate the users. So it's like it's not only showing the customer, but just leading them from where they are in the app to the right application, to the right retailers and e-commerce players. So that's the second thing. And third thing is about payment. So lots of people, when we think about payment, we think about payment itself. For us, it's 3 things. So we are working on all of this. So with games, we are working on user targeting, educating the users. So like whenever we show the customer something, and they should be able to just like click on it, immediately capture the user attention, and then bring them to the right merchant. And the third thing is payment, and we already started our, so we finished our own pilot about one-click payment indoors and in-house. But then when we think about it, whether or not we just work with like 1 or 2 banks, no, actually we want to be able to access to any source of cash with one-click payment. So anything with one-click payment, people don't have to go and authorize once again. It's a source of fund that we want to go there. So it can be credit card, it can be any kind of bank card, it can be even like Momo service, because users don't have to authorize once again. As long as we can achieve that, we would like to work with anyone. So it's like we would like to maximize the reach, the accessibility, and reduce the cost to the minimum for our users. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay. Well, we already ran out of time, so we gotta finish the discussion here. Well, thank you for having us today, and thank you for listening to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sticking for until the last minute.